If it comes now to the shops nowadays, what does it mean to be more convenient, have a higher customer experience? Is to show the right products.
Yeah.
You don't want to search anymore.
So in your opinion, the path to efficiency at this moment in time is through personalization.
If companies want to compete and if companies want to really be in competition with them, they need to wake up and say, okay, now it's time to start with personalization.
As a matter of fact, you can hide a dead body on the third page of Google, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. No one will ever see it.
Yeah.
And that's the same in the shop.
What's going to happen in the next 6 months, you think? Let's take a crystal ball and make some predictions.
Trust your data, because the data tells you the story of your customers.
Welcome back to the EGN Podcast, your go-to resource for actionable insights in the world of online businesses. I'm your host, Efe von Thenen. Today, we're exploring the world of personalization in e-commerce with a true expert in this field. Joining us is Ralph Hünermann, founder and CEO of ODOSCOPE. With a wealth of experience in working with data, AI, and optimization, Ralph is a true area expert, and he's here to share practical strategies for leveraging personalization to drive success in your e-commerce business. Throughout our conversation, we'll be focusing on the latest trends in personalization and exploring how businesses can navigate the cookieless feature. So, find out how you can take your business to the next level and make it much more efficient in this episode. Hey Ralph, welcome to our show in Berlin. I guess you took, what did you call it? A red-eye ride with the
red-eye
Deutsche Bahn?
train. Yes, I took the red-eye train to
How was your
Berlin.
ride this morning?
So this was pretty early and it was pretty good. I mean, it's a sprinter.
Yeah.
So you step in Cologne and step out in Berlin, and there's no stop in between.
Yeah.
So that's pretty nice because you don't have the distraction of people coming in and out and so on.
Yeah.
And it's faster, of course. So I arrived already at 10:15 in Berlin. So this was good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
like
super
it.
nice to have you here. And especially,
Thanks a lot.
This is a huge pleasure for me today because you've been a trusted advisor to us for a long time. And also, you have been a speaker at our conference. And it's always a pleasure to listen to you. And you're a founder, you're a CEO, and you have been moving the industry, and you're well connected. So it's a big pleasure. So
Thanks a
for
lot,
those
Efe.
of us that don't know you yet, please introduce yourself.
So thanks a lot for having me here. I really enjoy it. And it's an honor for me to be together with you in this podcast. So thanks a lot. Yeah, my name is Ralph Hünermann. I'm founder and CEO of ODOSCOPE. Originally, my profession is electrical engineering with a specialty of technical computer science. So this was my favorite topic from childhood on. And but when I finished my studies, I wanted to do more. So what fascinated me all the time was the interaction between human and machine and how to make the computers understand humans better. So this man-machine interaction was always my favorite spot. So what I did after my studies was I wanted to do more in science and went to a PhD studies. So I did a PhD in neuroinformatics, so which is all about neural networks, AI, and this all kind of this stuff, which is now getting very, very popular.
Yeah.
But those days it was just a niche. But actually, it's always coming in waves. Yeah? There are always some exciting times, and everything. Okay, this will change the world, and then they come to an end and say, okay, it's not like we expected. We need better technology, better hardware, whatever. Now we reach this next wave with the generative AI, and so these are exciting times. So yeah, I had this PhD, and then after this PhD, I founded an agency in e-commerce space. And to
Why
help.
e-commerce all of a sudden?
Well, this was the time when internet came up, and this. You see, when I did my PhD, I was doing like 5 years all the same stuff every day. So I said, no, I have enough from this. It was a project on a visual prosthesis, but this was a long ongoing topic or project. So I said, no, I need to do something which is more faster and which is like different problems every day.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, internet seems to be good, and projects in internet all have different angles and different problems to solve. So this is why I went to this space, to have a higher frequency, to have more things which come up. And then, but after some time, I said, agency is not my business. I don't like to get new projects on. I like to work on projects, but don't like to sell the projects and find new prospects. So I said, okay, I need a product.
Yeah.
And this is when we started to build this product around ODOSCOPE, which started as a pure analytics software, where we built our own database below in order to be very, very fast and do like very fast analytics on very high amount of data.
Yeah.
And then when we founded this as a specific company, so we as a spin-off of this agency, then we thought, okay, if we go now with analytics, we have the problem that people need to analyze. So they need to use the software. So a person, a human being, sits in front of the computer, does analytics and say, okay, look, this is not working well in your shop. And what's going on next? So another person needs to think about, okay, what shall we change now?
Yeah, advising.
So we said, no, this is not the way the future will be. The future will be the software needs to change the shop. So take the analytics, take the data of the shop and make the shop better automatically.
Yeah.
So that people find their way better, people will reach their goals better. So that was the original idea. So when we founded
Who's
ODOSCOPE.
we?
I founded ODOSCOPE with my wife.
Oh, nice.
Yes, we are very complementary. So she's absolutely no techie, but she loves the numbers. She loves contracts and all this administrative stuff.
Yeah.
So she's doing all the controlling. She's doing HR. She's doing marketing and the reporting for the investors and so on. And I am doing sales and tech and investor relations.
It's funny. You're kind of describing my relationship, but like my wife is the techie one. She's
the
done
other way
like
around.
AI, machine learning, neural networks,
Okay.
and just like yourself and been through the track. And so it's very interesting.
And we were always looking for having a company together with our partner. So
Yeah.
we found each other and said, okay, this is now the partnership where we can follow our dreams and build something together. And it works pretty well.
That's very nice to hear. This is the dream of so many people to
Well,
come to this point.
many tell us, how can you work with your wife? Are you crazy? I would get crazy if I work with my wife all day long. I mean, we are basically not working together, right?
Yeah.
She's doing her stuff, I'm doing my stuff, but we can trust each other, so we don't have to control each other. We can blindly trust each other, and that's very helpful.
And I feel like this statement, how do you work with your partner, is kind of old-fashioned these days, because like relationships are also at home. You're sharing so many tasks. It's like a partnership. It's like running a business at home. Just your clients are your kids. In a way, like you have to work with your
We
partner.
say we have two babies.
Yeah.
Our daughter and ODOSCOPE, yeah.
Oh, that's it's so funny because almost every founder calls their startup or company a baby, because it requires so much effort and care and like
care, yes.
Yeah. And tell us about what you do, like right now, who your clients are. How do you make a difference in the market?
So as I said, we take the data of the shops and use the data to make shops better and make the shops more adaptive. So what we entered quite after founding was the personalization space, because we try to adapt to the intent of the user. So the shop wants to try to adapt, right? Because as you see shops out there, have a huge assortment. Why do they have a huge assortment? Because they want to be the main player in their niche, right? So they have a specific niche and they say, okay, everyone who looks for a product in this niche shall be served by us.
Yeah.
So we want to serve them all. This is why they all have such a huge assortment and very, very specific things they sell, right? Beside those retailers who have like everything, like marketplaces, I'm talking also about like these niche players. And now the single person, the customer, I mean, is not interested in everything. It's just interested in his specific need.
Yeah.
So now you have the
Through
problem
that journey
to match this huge assortment to the need and the relevance for the individual.
Yeah.
So that's a big problem. Yeah. And we all know this. I mean, sometimes we have like a long journey of searching everything, yeah, and try to find the right thing. So we said, okay, the data can tell us a lot more about what kind of people are looking for what kind of products.
Yeah.
And this is already inside the data. Because if you know something about your users and you know something about the product and combine this, you know, okay, these kind of users are interested in these kind of products.
Yeah.
And this can be a match. And, you know, what we focus on now is on the discovery stage. So where people are in discovery mode. So they are not sure what exactly they are
Upper
looking
funnel.
for. Yeah, but look, you're looking for a new shirt.
Yeah.
You don't know a specific, you don't know the brand maybe, don't know exactly the color, yeah. You don't know the fit maybe, yeah, just roughly.
Yeah.
But we all know this. So if you start filtering, out of 600 products, you get 2. Yeah?
Yeah, it always happens
say,
to me.
what kind of filter is this?
Yeah.
Shit, yeah? So, okay, let's try another filter. Okay, you get 599 out of 600.
Yeah.
So the filters do not really help you. That's an issue,
For sure.
yeah? Because you want to get inspired. So how can you solve this? You can, for example, if I know you, yeah, I can say, okay, you wear like black shirts. You wear like shirts of a specific brand. So now, like the simple solution of personalization pushes now all the black shirts upwards,
Yeah.
and only shirts of your brand.
Yeah.
So you stay in your bubble.
Yeah.
What we do is we say, okay, what kind of shirts do people buy who love black shirts?
Yeah.
Then also like dark blue will come up, maybe also white, yeah? Because some people who buy black shirts also buy white shirts, but no blue shirts, for example, yeah? So things come up which people with a similar profile usually buy. And if you, for example, buy a specific brand, then also other brands come up which are quite similar based on this lookalike audience. So what we basically do is we use a lookalike audience.
Yeah.
And now there's a big issue in personalization. We all know this. This is data privacy.
Yeah.
So if you want to look for a new shirt, you don't want to tell everyone everything about you. Yeah. So you don't want to enter a shop and say, look, usually I buy this, and that. And sometimes I buy this and I love this. Now, please give me some recommendations. You don't do this. You don't want to give so much away from yourself.
Yeah.
So you come in and say, okay, I stay private here and I just want to see what you have. So you don't even give the consent and say, don't take my data. I'm not sure if I will engage with you. I just want to see your assortment. So that's a big issue in personalization, because here every personalization usually stops. But what we figured out is that you still send a lot of data points. So you, for example, you're now located in Berlin, which is a metropolitan area. And if you look into the data, you see, people in Berlin buy completely different shirts than those in rural areas of Bavaria, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you look for a hip hoodie, you are thinking about something completely different than the one in rural Bavaria.
Yeah.
So and then you come in with an iPhone, for example, which is a different shopping behavior usually than those with an Android phone or those who come in via Windows.
Yeah.
Then if you come in on Saturday afternoon or on Monday morning at 7, completely different shopping behavior.
Yeah.
So there are many different data points. Where did you get the inspiration of coming to this shop? Did you search in Google? Did you come via Facebook or Instagram? This might make a big difference of what kind of personality you are and what kind of products you're looking for.
But we knew all of this also traditionally.
Yes, but shops are not able to be in real time, to take this data in real time and resort their assortment.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes,
it's about the personalized journey that you're building.
And this is what we call situationalization here. So it takes your situation into account rather than your personality or your profile. Yeah?
Yeah.
So the situation you're in. So you come via Instagram on a Sunday afternoon, you're using an iPhone, and then you start searching for black shirts, for example. And then we can take all this and we build like lookalike audiences.
So that's interesting. You mentioned situationalization.
Yes.
Right? So just because I bought a black shirt at some point in time doesn't mean that the next journey I will have will have, hey, this guy bought a black shirt. Hey, let's give him more black shirts. Or like in that new
this
situation.
This is how those algorithms work.
Yeah. In that new situation, I will give you an example. Some of my shirts are from Seidenstecker, right? So this German brand, I'm getting paper mail to my home address with the same exact shirts all the time. I'm like, maybe they have other innovative ways, but
always the same.
But I'm like, I'm opening these because I'm in marketing, so I'm curious what they're doing with personalization, the emails, and it's almost like I stopped even looking at it because it's almost the same things that are not so. They have like one different looking shirt, and the other ones are like my typical purchase colors or something. So the situation-based analysis and like giving them what they want, it's sounds very interesting to me.
Yeah, you need the current intent.
Yeah.
And then, but there are also differences. There are other solutions which say, okay, we take the intent also into account, but then they need to collect like 5 or 6 clicks. Okay. And then they say, okay, you're looking for a Boss shirt. So then they boost Boss. Okay? I mean, this is too simple. So I would say, okay, well, I got to know that you're interested in Boss. So what kind of brands do people buy who also buy Boss? So
and pay maybe at the same time more sustainable, or like
exactly. And this is
something better.
This is additionally the merchandise effect. Yeah. So when we talk about personalization, we always talk about relevance for the customer.
Yeah.
But there are also interests for the business. So if you will let the algorithm run and say, okay, just make the best conversion rate and show the best products for the customer, you will end up showing the cheapest products at top because they are sold with the highest frequency.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is not the interest of the shop.
Yeah.
The shop wants to make more margin, wants to sell some private label. So you need to find a balance between interests of the shop and interests of the customer. This is what we call AI-powered merchandising, because you tell, let's sell more of my private brand, for example, and the system will figure out where to place it and which kind of product of your private brand is the right one for the current user based on this lookalike audiences.
And you provide this as an add-on to existing shops.
Yes, we have a SaaS solution for that.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about your clients and customers? How big are these shops? Like roughly, or do you cater to several different target groups?
So the average size of a shop is between 50 million in revenue and 150 million in revenue, something like this is the average. Of course, we have smaller shops, we have bigger shops.
Yeah.
But that's our average.
Yeah.
So you need some data, otherwise it doesn't work well.
Yeah.
We also have some small shops, but they are international. And then you can say, okay, look, in France, people buy completely different than in Poland, than in the Netherlands or in Italy. So you can use even small amount of data to personalize the shop without human help. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just driven by the data, and this makes it very effective to control the shop. Yeah. For the category managers, because right now they do this all manually. They say, okay, in France, please put this on top. And we know a lot of customers who really work with Excel to sort their lists. Yeah.
Wow. Which is currently what's going on. And which brings me also to the actual question I want to start with. But it's been so interesting that I didn't want to interrupt you. Just looking at the e-commerce market right now in terms of personalization, you mentioned situationalization.
Yes.
But I think we're not there yet so much, as far as I have seen. How do you see the current market? And for the first time in e-commerce history, we're going through a period of sort of stagnation or a slow recovery. How do you see the current market? I'm interested in your thoughts about that.
I mean, the current market is high under pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is because of the heights that have been behind us, like in 21, 22. So now it's a little bit of consolidation on one hand, but on the other hand, we see the China pressure as well. Yeah. So companies which sell the same stuff as German shops do, but much, much cheaper, maybe even lower quality. Yeah.
You mentioned you mean the likes of Shein,
like Shein, Temu, yeah. Or even on TikTok, for example, yeah, they are also getting a big shop player. And why does this pressure come from them? Because they are very aggressive. They are very aggressive in the market, and we are now approaching K5 tomorrow and the day after, and there will be a lot of talks about the China challenge. But what's going on here is they build their business on personalization. So this is personalization in the core. Yeah, this is personalization first. If you go to TikTok, the whole algorithm behind TikTok is personalization and situationalization.
Yeah.
It works exactly on what you do right now. So you see the next clip based on what you watched before. Yeah. So it's real time. It's taking your decisions in real time into account in order to show you the next and the next and the next.
Yeah.
And the same thing is done by Shein and Temu, and that's why they are so successful. So if companies want to compete and if companies want to really be in competition with them, they need to wake up and say, okay, now it's time to start with personalization. Otherwise, they will go out of business.
So in your opinion, the path to efficiency at this moment in time is through personalization.
Yeah, and I can tell you why. Because for us consumers, it's all about customer experience. And if you look about customer experience in an online shop, if you go back in time, you think, okay, customer experience was, oh, great, I don't have to type my credit card details anymore. Yeah. What a great convenience, right?
Yeah.
So customer experience, it's all about convenience, because if it's more convenient, you're always willing to pay more. Yeah. Because you say, okay, I'm happy about this. And if you look in the small details of all the phones and like look at an iPhone. So in the past, there was this Touch ID.
Yeah.
But now you have the Face ID. It's more convenient, right? Would you go back to the Touch ID? No, I have to click. It's just this single click you don't have to do anymore. So it's getting more and more convenient, and people accept what's more convenient. So if it comes now to the shops nowadays, what does it mean to be more convenient, to have a higher customer experience? Is to show the right products.
Yeah.
You don't want to search anymore. Yeah. I mean, you have you're presented with hundreds and thousands of products if you look in a specific category like your shirts. But will you look at them all? Will you scroll through pages, endless pages? No way. No one does this. I mean, Google told us over years, everything that is relevant for you is on the first page.
Yeah.
So we adapt this, right?
As a matter of fact, you can hide a dead body on the third page of Google, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. No one will ever see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the same in the shop. So you say, okay, I'm looking for a new shirt. I'm looking for new shoes or something for my sportive activities. And you start in Google or nowadays with Perplexity or whatever, and then you end up in some shops and you say, okay, never heard about that. Maybe let's see what they have.
Yeah.
And that now it's their time. They don't need to wait like 5 clicks until you tell them what you're looking for.
Yeah.
They need to show you right away the right thing.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you're gone.
How about the modern I have 2 questions. So curious about what you think about the German brands as we speak. And I want to ask you if you could name successful, good examples of brands that incorporate, if at all, such situationalization. Somehow I can't say this word.
It's just situation.
Yeah.
Say situation and then situationalization.
Brands that incorporate this successfully, and maybe also some bad examples so that we can understand how big the gap is.
So I start with a bad example. One of our clients came to me and said, Ralph, we need to talk. I started my new job as a head of e-commerce, and when I came here, you know how the products were sorted. They were sorted alphabetically. I mean, hello? How bad can customer experience
That's so German.
be?
Hello?
Yeah? Yes, it is. Okay. But you know?
Yeah.
So he said, okay, let's first start to sort them by top sellers.
Yeah.
And he increased his customer experience by 100, his conversion rate by 100% by just doing this. So the impact of the list,
fruits.
Yes, the impact of the list is so high. Yeah. And now, if it comes to this list sortings, for example, Otto. I mean, we talked to Otto in early days of our business, like in 2016. And what we now see is that we were just way ahead of the market. When we were talking about situationalization, personalization, they were all talking about how do we track data? How do we work with data? How do we set up the right shop environment?
Yeah.
And then the discussion came up about headless and so on. But Otto was always like a little bit ahead.
Yeah.
And they had a huge BI team. They were seeing already in early days from now on, back it's like 2015 or 16, the list has a very high impact. So they say, okay, if we make the right order of the lists, of the product lists, of the ranking in search and in category listings, then this will have a high impact on our conversion rate and the customer experience. So they knew this, but still they are using static lists. So they have very, very complex algorithms to calculate this by taking the margin into account, taking the stock into account, taking the conversion rate, and so on, everything. Yeah, but it's static. Yeah. It's the same list for everyone. So the big level here is to take the individual into account.
Yeah.
And have separate lists, so single lists. And here we come to a problem because this is a technological problem. This is why the reason why this is not adapted is a technological problem.
Yeah.
Because with the technology out there, you're not able to build different lists for each and every user.
Yeah.
And this is one of our USPs, that we developed a database technology, which is able to calculate the relevance of like thousands and hundreds of thousands of products in milliseconds based on hundreds of millions of sessions.
Yeah.
So this is,
But then again, we had Otto in the podcast. Jörg was here, and we did talk about AI, and it ended up being one of the longest episodes because there's so much going on.
Absolutely.
Would you say that we have entered a new phase? You've mentioned the advancements of generative AI. Would you say that we have entered a new phase where a whole range of new things are possible, especially in this segment you're in?
I mean, if you look at the e-commerce shops today, they don't look much different from those shops 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's an issue, right? It's a
Definitely.
big problem. And why was this? Because there was no pressure. There was no pressure. So, I mean, there was like an instant increase of 10% every year or even more.
Yeah.
So no one had to take care about
Sweet
it.
spot.
Yeah. Everything was working well. But now the market comes under pressure. Yeah, because there are players coming from China who make it much smarter and cheaper.
And also
now-
a different approach because
and
of
it-
factory to customer, right? So
Absolutely. It's a
on
different
top
approach.
of all that, like-
Absolutely. But this brings pressure in.
yeah.
And now pressure is what produces diamonds, right?
Yeah.
So now there must be innovation. And this comes now at the same time as we have this generative AI, which on the other hand gives us the possibility not even to change the order of the products, but even have different images for the products, have different texts for the products.
Yeah.
So we can make a different presentation of the product for each individual.
Yeah. Such personalizations exist on dating platforms, for example.
Exactly. Already,
so,
yes.
On Tinder, if you have like a nice photo, like you don't know yourself, you upload like 5 photos, and then one of those photos are super well received among your target group, whatever that is, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then
The
Tinder
algorithm figures out.
the algorithm would put that photo, because like in today's time and age, there's this problem of like some men getting a lot of attention and some other men getting absolutely no attention in the dating market, for example.
Yeah.
Their personalization helps, like, so they kind of like balance this extremity between those target groups. So I found that I read an article about this and found it very interesting. So
And
that's
why
one
is this
use case.
happening in the dating platforms? Because there was the pressure for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
love it how
if-
you said like pressure creates diamonds. You know?
it is needed. If you don't have the pressure from outside, the external pressure, nothing will change. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, so do you think these what's going to happen with the Chinese platforms? Let's continue that track for a second. It's they are already shipping lots and lots of parcels in Germany. What's going to happen in the next 6 months, you think? Let's take a crystal ball and make some predictions.
So I think there will be the typical German pressure, which may, okay, let's do some regulations first. Yeah. I mean, don't let the market flow, make some regulations. But on the other hand, I think they won't go away. So there are still people who like it, who love it. But I mean, some friends of mine just tried it out and said, it's crap. Forget about it. Yeah. I tried it out twice or 3 times and it's all shitty crap. Yeah. And you can use it just for one time, just as a gimmick. Yeah. So it's just a gimmick and you say, okay, it's just €4, just get it. And then, I mean, but on the long run, it will be hard to establish it in a high quality market. Yeah, because you cannot really send things back. So returning things is quite difficult.
Yeah.
And then we come about this about their procedures about returned products. They just throw them away because they say, hey, it's too expensive to send them back to China and work with them again. Yeah. So this will be a kick, I guess, against them, because customers will say, okay, I don't want this to happen. This is one thing. And the other thing is about the quality.
They're discussing opening the platform to European sellers as well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And this will open up, of course, this will be a marketplace then, which opens up new possibilities for sellers here, which currently use maybe Amazon.
Yeah.
And then this platform will work much better, because what's your experience on Amazon if you're in discovery mode?
Yeah.
I mean, I do not find anything on Amazon if I do not know exactly what I'm looking for.
But that's pretty much it. Like for years on end, Amazon and Google were in some sort of a competition, whereas you would go to Google to search for a brand, let's say,
Yes.
like in more broader like terms. But then you would go to Amazon with this clear intention. You want to buy a coffee machine named blah blah, and the strength of
And you want
Amazon,
it
it has
tomorrow.
everything in this assortment. You know, like almost everything.
Yes.
So that's
yes.
the strength. You find everything. You find reviews for almost all the products, whereas individual
It's like
websites.
the modern Kaufhof.
Yeah, more modern Kaufhof, which is probably also the reason they're kind of
Exactly. Yes.
destroyed. Yeah, so, but there's a difference now. One thing that I have personally observed, of course, I experimented with these platforms a little bit. You get personalized emails, whereas from Amazon, I don't get any personalized emails.
Absolutely
they don't use
not.
this at all.
Yeah.
And I think I personally hate those personalized emails because like I like to go on that platform myself and just see things, but each user is different, right? So they Shein, for example, and Temu, like they send you personalized emails, and these personalized mails actually make sense.
Yes, and you know why? Because it's the algorithm behind it. They work on lookalike audiences.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they don't send you what you were already looking for.
Yeah.
So they say, okay, people who were looking at this, what else were they looking for? So who were similar, and what is their favorite order?
Ralph,
So that's
we have described the problem. We have described who's tackling it and who's not so successful at it. So maybe you can tell us 3 steps for brands to start addressing this issue. What do they have to do to get onto this issue?
first of all, trust your data. So every company out there collected a lot of data all the years. And what do they do with it? I mean, if you look at GA4, they just look, okay, we have an increase in conversion rate. So it's just these high level numbers. They don't use the data really. And now if we come in and say, look, we take your data and help you to bring in better sortings, then there's always someone who says, hey, come on, I'm sorting this manually for years. And you come in and tell me that this algorithm is better than my gut feeling?
Yeah.
No way. So this is what I mean. Trust your data, because the data tells you the story of your customers.
Yeah.
So your gut feeling is not the broad range of your customers. It's just your gut feeling, right?
Yeah.
And you need to accept this. You need to accept that this is just your gut feeling. So you need to accept that data knows better. Okay?
Yeah.
But of course, the data of yesterday doesn't know that you today start the sales season.
Yeah.
This is not in the data of the last days. So you need to give it a hint and say, look, now it's sales season, please act accordingly. Yeah. So this is one thing. The second thing is you need to try to operationalize your data and not building a new silo. This is the next thing. Yeah. So many solutions out there come in and say, look, we have the holy grail and we will help you, but we need to first start tracking. You have already tracked. You have your data already. Yeah. It's everything is in place already. You can just use it. So make sense out of it. And it's not only like building a new silo. It's more like combining the different silos. Yeah.
And you mentioned also act on the data in an instantaneous manner, right?
Yeah, this means you need some technology in place that is able to act in real time on the current signals, so the intention of the current user, and use the data in order to show the right stuff. Yeah. So that's very important. Yeah. And it's the big value comes in if you combine the different silos you have. So you have your tracking data, which is all about the anonymous users. And I mean, you only have like 3% of users in your web shop who buy something. So 97% do not buy anything. So they are not part of your ERP data with the orders and so on. So 97% of your traffic is data that you currently don't use.
Yeah.
And there is a huge amount of knowledge inside. Yeah. What are people interested in? Where do people bounce? Why do they bounce? This is all something which is inside there.
Yeah.
So if you combine your all data, then the knowledge of your company is inside this combined data set. Yeah, so you have like the CRM data, you have the order histories, you have the tracking data, you have the newsletter interaction data, you have the product data, and if you combine all of this, then you get the whole knowledge of your company and the knowledge. I mean, it's hidden knowledge of how users interact with your or customers interact with your products.
Those are very useful thoughts, and I think also important to understand is like whether or not you are platform agnostic. Let's say I'm an e-commerce merchant working with Shopify, generating, as you said, above 50 million per year. But there are several merchants that successfully use also standardized software. And how do you see those players, despite using a standardized software? Can you also cater to their needs?
Absolutely. I mean, this is just. I mean, we are
agnostic.
Luckily, we are in this composable world,
Yeah.
Which makes a lot of sense because you can take the best how do you call it? Best breed.
Yeah, best in breed.
Best in breed, exactly. Yeah. So you can take the best in breed and take all the components for each and every aspect of your website or of your online shop. So, which means that even if you have like platforms like Shopware, Shopify, Scale, you can still plug in these kind of projects or tools to help you on specific aspects. And this is very important to think like this and to be API driven.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if you always work with a monolith, you cannot keep the pace with innovation.
We talked about headless commerce a couple episodes before this with CNA, how they made the transformation, the brand. We talked with the head data engineer, how they made the transition step by step to move on to this headless commerce approach, well, based on API first approach, and that I found very interesting because then you cannot. The monolith comes with several disadvantages. Right?
Absolutely, so, absolutely. It's basically maintaining. Is the first stuff. And I mean, yes, you have a system, a huge system, which offers all the different aspects of an online shop. But they buy new players all the time to integrate them in the shop. But after a while, it's just a patchwork of tools, and they don't really work together perfectly. Yeah,
definitely.
So that's the problem, and then you cannot keep the pace with innovation. So you need to be able to go with innovation and keep the pace because the market is speeding up right now.
Yeah. And the journey of tomorrow, I have in my notes manual personalization, and then automated personalization. You've talked about businesses utilizing Excel sheets still. There's still a lot of homework to do, I feel. But what can we expect? How does the journey of the future customer look like? Especially like AI playing a huge role in our lives. It's already changed. When you wake up in the morning, I made a LinkedIn post about this. AI has already decided which news piece you'll read today, which message, which notification gets priority. What you see when you look at your phone, what you see, which message you consume first, and it will inevitably also, it does already, it will decide which piece of parcel or you will order next.
So my vision of this, you see, Apple just introduced to have this really AI-driven Siri, right?
Yeah.
So they will have
Apple Intelligence.
Apple Intelligence. They will put this on the smartphone. So no longer in the cloud like it is currently,
Yeah.
but on the smartphone in order to be prepared for data privacy.
Yeah.
So that you as the user will trust this system. And everything is calculated on this phone. So what will happen? This will evolve to a personal assistant of you because it knows everything about you. And now you say, okay, hey, Siri, Siri 2, 2.0.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a new shirt. And now what will this agent do? This agent will take all the data profile information of you, but taking it anonymous, and go to a shop and say, look, I'm looking for a new shirt of a person who has this profile information.
Yeah.
What can you recommend me? And then the shop says, okay. And the shops need to be prepared for this. So this is no longer a user interface. This is an API request coming from an agent. And there will come in millions of agents simultaneously asking for, I'm looking for this and this and this. What can you recommend me? And then you have a perfect profile, but you need to be able to react on this in real time. You cannot just pre-calculate this because it's a user you have never seen before.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to do this in real time. And then the shop says, okay, I would recommend these 5 to a person with this profile.
Yeah.
And then
also in that
the agent
situation,
goes
perhaps.
to 6 others.
Yeah.
And then he comes back with like 20 shirts and say, look, Efe, these are the 20 I selected for you. Which one would you choose? And then you say, okay, I choose the third one. Go and buy it.
Yeah.
And I think this is the way the systems will interact. And this will bring personalization on a next level, right?
And how fast will this happen?
You know the speed of AI right now? So I think this might happen like within the next 2 years.
I want to make sure it doesn't happen before we air this episode. So.
It's already there. What they are talking about.
Yeah, it just happened. Yeah, things are happening very fast at the moment.
Yes.
In marketing, you often say like the market is moving fast, but it's really moving fast, And so for me, it's super interesting to hear your thoughts, someone that's on the ground working with these use cases, to see how this is going to evolve. Because from my perspective, journeys are no longer linear. That's already over, right? So it's getting fairly complicated, and also for brands to find out, hey, where's this customer coming from, and just understanding the customer, and especially when we are talking about a cookieless feature, that also brings a whole set of new challenges or just new approaches. But you mentioned several ways that we can still make sense of the data, and we can still we'll be okay without cookies. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, you need to find ways without cookies, right? So either you engage your users to give you some of their data, which we call like the zero-party data. Yeah. So they are willing to give it to you and say, look, I'm a 36-year-old boy who wants to buy a black shirt, and I like to buy like this and that.
Yeah.
I mean, we see this already happening. Not sure if it really works well right now. Yeah. If we look at Zalando or About You, they're asking already about some questions. What do you like?
There are some affiliate platforms like Shoop or some others that have users that willingly give this information in exchange of like 2-3 euros.
But beside that, if you're not getting this information, I mean, there will always be a huge fraction of users who don't want to give this information. You still are able to use their anonymous data information. And this is more than having nothing. And it's even better to show everyone a more individualized assortment instead of showing everyone the same. Yeah. So that's a big difference here. And the good thing is you can even use this without consent and without cookies. Yeah. So it works even for those. because
in 100% of the cases.
Yes, it works in 100% of the cases. Yeah. Even if they don't want to share their data, you can use the anonymous data, like what's the device, what's the time, and so on that I mentioned, and even the weather, which can be taken.
Fantastic.
And then you have a little bit more personalized.
We've talked about brands that have the means to incorporate personalization and all these things because it comes with a certain budget expectation, right? So you can't just make all these changes without spending money or investing money. How about the smaller guys, like smaller merchants that are just making maybe less than 1 million euros per year? Do you see a big threat for them? How do you see the development of this market segment?
Well, I mean, they are especially under pressure because they need to be brilliant in their field, in their niche.
Yeah.
In order to attract more users, more customers. And this means they need to have, from my perspective, they need to have a perfect customer experience. That's the only way how they can really step out of the masses of shops,
or become a love brand.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So that's the only way, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, it's word of mouth, but this is very slow. Yeah, but on the other hand, you need to be able to deliver a very good experience.
Ralph, it's been fantastic listening to you, and especially this is a podcast where we usually almost always try to translate sophisticated e-commerce topics into a very digestible format, easy to understand. So I think we've pretty much done exactly that. And thank you so much for your insights and being with us. And for our viewers and listeners, if you have questions about situationalization, personalization, how to tap into this whole set of emerging and important developments, they should be encouraged to get in contact with you on LinkedIn.
I'm happy to answer questions.
Yeah, and
to help.
I'm looking forward to the next conversation with you.
Thanks a lot. It was a pleasure. Thanks, Efe.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of the EGN Podcast. If you found our discussion insightful, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channels on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Your support helps us grow and improve our content. See you next time.